Welcome to the Living Ageless and Bold podcast. Each episode, I bring you amazing women who inspire, educate, and share their experiences and journeys along the way. So grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's relax and have some fun hearing what can be accomplished after 55. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. We're going to have some fun today. My guest is Lexis Johnson. She's a best-selling author, business strategist, get ready, a psychic astrologer. I'm really excited about this. I'm totally into this stuff. I don't know a lot about it. I'm an Aquarius. We'll talk about all this too. She's going to do a little reading for me. But what I have learned from her and looking into this is she takes this kind of cosmic clarity and helps us harness our intuition and how do we manifest success. And I've learned a lot about, as I've gotten older in my 50s, trusting my gut, trusting my intuition. And I'm really excited to dive really deep on that. So welcome, Lexis.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. This is my favorite thing to do, and I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I can't wait. But I want to talk about how did you get into this? How did you know you had a gift for astrology? First of all, when we were in high school, we always read, you read your horoscope every day. But this is on a whole different level. So how did you get into all of this?
Well, my mother, truthfully, I get it from both sides because my mother always read her horoscope every single day. And my grandfather on my dad's side totally believed in astrology and taught me about the keys of Enoch. And I was the only one in the family that sat down at his knees and listened to him and didn't think he was crazy. But my mom, that was daily. My grandpa lived in a different city, but my mom was every day talking about it. And one day when I was 16, almost 17, she said, I would say to her, Mom, why are you reading those stupid things? There aren't just 12 kinds of people. And she said, look, there's this course we could go take. It's just one evening. Let's drive up there. We have nothing better to do. We'll go up there and we'll see what they have to say. And for once and for all, you can see that it works or it doesn't. So I said, okay. And we filled out the form, gave them both our birth information. And when we got there, we were blown away. They greeted us at the door and said something about us. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I'm like, did you tell her?
Did you tell her?
And it's just so unbelievable. And the whole rest of the evening was just one aha, mouth-dropping, event after the other. And that's how I got started.
Wow. So if people aren't, other than me, this is really all I know. I'm an Aquarius and I do get an email, once a day. I don't always read it, but there's so much more to it. The alignment of the stars and the moons and how you were born and when you were born. And so talk a little bit about how it really works.
Well, you have to take all of the celestial elements into consideration. It isn't just about the sun. You know your sun sign because there's 365 days in a year and it's easy to plot them, and you have a birthday. So the sun is on a different, usually very close to the same degree every single year. So it's easy to say you're a Pisces or you're an Aries or whatever. So that's your sign, but it's really just your sun sign. And that's who you be in the world, just who you are. But then there's the moon, which is your emotions, and Venus, which is what you love and what you value, and Mercury is how you communicate, every different planet. And there's a few other things, asteroids, for example, that color who you are as a person. And it's just like feng shui. There's different houses and each house means something different. And the houses are determined by what time of the day you're born. So we erect a chart at the very moment you're born. And it's like as if the moment you were born, you looked up at the heavens and took a snapshot. And the breath that you take is the energy from the electromagnetic energy of every one of these celestial bodies coming into and infusing who you be. And so that's who you are in the world. And you have a destiny, and it's written in the stars.
So how in depth, you're talking about there's more than just our sign. That's the easy thing, January 21st to February 21st. And then you have all the moons and like you said, Venus. And so how do you, every person must be completely different, except for that handful of people who happen to have been born at the exact same, well, I guess, and it's where you were born too. So there's probably are no two exacts the same, are there?
Even twins aren't exactly the same. Unless you were conjoined twins and you breathed your first breath at the exact same moment, you're all different. Plus, we have free will. So you're given the roadmap in your stars, and events are going to happen that your soul chose when you came in. But after you're here, you can make a choice. You can say, that thing that keeps happening over and over and over again, I'm going to figure it out. Or you can say, that damn thing that keeps happening over and over again, damn it anyways, the universe is out to get me. And you can go down a different path, right? So it's your choice how you deal with it. And as an astrologer, it's my job to help you understand what your choices are and show you why the cycle keeps repeating and what you can do about it.
So you can change the cycle, even though you were born a certain way and there are certain things you can't change, the stars, the alignment, the planets.
There are some things you can change and some things you cannot change. Some things you could change, but you're just not evolved enough to change. Like you're not a monk sitting meditating all day long, right? You're not a pure 100% universal energy, right? You're a whole mixture of things. And depending on all the environmental choices that happen in the world, who your parents were and how the kids at school treated you and et cetera, you've had to adapt to all of these different situations. The choices that you made then determine what you're going to do the next time. So as an astrologer, when we ask you what happened when you were 9 or something like that, we're looking at a certain thing that repeats and we want to know how you handled it. And then we might say, well, then what happened when you were 29? And we'll ask you that and then come forward. And then we're understanding, oh, she's answered that way. She did this. She's most likely to do that. And if it's not a good thing, we will say, you'd be best served if you did. And then we'll tell you another choice that you could take and why you should take it.
And you can do it. You can change it.
You can change it. Yeah, you can change it. There's a lot of other things you can do. I'm very metaphysical. You can do timeline therapy and go back in time and change the way you react to things, which will change the outcome of things, even with other people's lives. And in all of this energy work, you can't change anybody else. You can only change yourself. But if you change yourself, it'll change how other people react to you, which in effect changes them. So there's all kinds of stuff about collapsing time and all kinds of things you could go into. But basically, you have a blueprint. And if you look at what the blueprint is, there are certain ways you can modify it. And there are other ways that you can use the grace of God, universe, whatever you believe in, and you can have a restructuring. But that's a whole other subject. But that's in your stars too.
Wow. So how do you work with somebody? Like you start with just a basic reading, and then depending on how deep they want to go?
Some people already know their charts, so they don't need a basic reading. But when I first talk to them, I ask them, what are the issues you want to deal with? Is there something going on? Is this just a basic that you don't know anything and you want to learn? Or do you have a core question that you want? Is something going on in your life? So I ask them what they want, because I could go on forever telling them different things about their lives. And everybody's got one of 3 or 4 different questions that keep coming up. I've been doing this for 5 decades, so there's always 3 or 4 categories. Would you like to know what they are?
I was just going to ask you if you would tell us. That would be great.
Okay, so everybody wants to know, when's the guy coming? Like, when am I going to get romance, right? Or when am I going to get married? Or when am I going to have a baby, right? It's all related to this romance thing. And another one is, show me the money. Like, where the heck is the money in my chart anyways? Like, what am I supposed to be when I grow up? Or what am I supposed to be doing? Am I on purpose? Right? So those are the 2 basic questions. And then most people want to know about their health, but we're not allowed to talk to you about your health. But I happen to be a double board certified nutritional consultant and holistic health practitioner. So I'm one astrologer you can actually ask about your health. And I can tell you why you have those things in your chart too. So those are the 3 basic questions that always come up over and over and over again.
Yeah, I tell you, it's so fascinating. And I'm so excited to dive deeper with you on this. I had a business associate, and she was very into Akashic readings.
Oh, yeah.
And she asked me to do it, to see with this business thing that we were doing. And it was unbelievable. Like, I'm in. Like, there's no way a person could know some things about me. And it had to do with my husband selling his company. And I was literally the only other person who knew other than him. She was, 20 states away. So it's just fascinating how, and it makes sense that we can't just be here. There has to be more to it. And again, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your higher being is, but to think that there isn't more than just us. So it's amazing how you can figure it out.
In my belief system, none of this exists. There is no reality. This is all a construct, and we co-create. We co-create with whatever put us here in the first place, no matter what you call it. And as Einstein said, everything's on a time loop and it's all happening at the same time, which is why we can go back in time or go forward in time. What I do isn't just astrology. It's Russian cosmobiology, and it's very psychic because I have both sides of my family have that for generations. What I do is I use the astrology as a doorway to open up the Akashic records, and I get to see information that I wouldn't otherwise know. So I start off telling you about your stars, and I'll go back and forth between your stars. But something comes in that I tell you that your guides want you to know.
Yeah.
And I just do it. I just tell you. So no two readings would ever be the same.
Wow. So I didn't realize that you did those kind of readings too. It's fascinating. All of it is fascinating. And I'm sure you can make decisions on relationships and, maybe that's not the right way to go. Maybe we should wait for, well, you said relationships are one of the biggest question marks.
I tell people when to get married, when to have a baby. People have come to me and said for years, I had a girlfriend, frankly, that said to me, gosh, it's been 7 years we've been married and we just can't get pregnant. And I was like, oh, no problem. Give me your chart, give me his chart. I put it both together. And I said, if you use these days, you're going to have a boy. So you really want a girl. So don't wait for these days. She didn't wait and she got a boy. And then she said to me, I'm going to listen to you now. I really want a little girl. So after she had her little boy, 2 years later, we did another chart and we got her little girl. And it was just a matter of timing. It was just timing. But I do that all the time. So it's not just, some of these things are medical because why could they not have a baby? Right? So why could they not have a baby? But people come to me and they're like, nope, doctors say I can't have it. And I'm like, well, your chart says otherwise. And so I lead them down where they're supposed to go and they get the result.
But you might see a chart that says no.
There are charts
that's not in
no
your
baby.
future.
I did one just the other day and I was talking to somebody and I don't want to insult someone. So when I'm looking at their chart, if I don't know anything about them, I looked at her, the part of the chart that would say that. And I said, you either don't have children or, there's just no children in the picture, right? She says, nope, I never wanted kids. Just like that. So she didn't even want kids and couldn't have, or didn't have kids. They weren't even in her chart. That's okay. She had so many other things. Most people have so many talents in their chart and they come to me and they say, am I on purpose? Like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this planet? And I'll look at their chart and they'll have more than one talent. And I'll be like, well, what is it you are doing? Because you could do this or you could do this or you could do this, and I'll name them. And they'll say, oh yeah, I do that and I do that and I do that. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Then you have a choice. And sometimes the chart will say which one is more emphasized, or the planets today will tell you what is most likely to give you the best success compared to what the day you were born. So there's all kinds of things.
It's fascinating. When I first started the podcast, I wasn't sure. I just was dabbling a little. I got very angry about somebody who said something about women our age. I'm like, that's it. I'm starting this podcast. I'm going to highlight. And I did the reading, and I don't even know if I had even officially launched the podcast, but she basically said, you're creating a platform. Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is, and it was unbelievable to me. And that empowers me too. Every time I do these interviews and I meet amazing women and I get to share their stories and people are like, oh, I love that episode. Or I love this to be able to share women with the world. And I might not have kept going if somebody hadn't said, yes, this is what you really should be doing.
Well, you were kind enough to give me your birth data. And although I like to do birth charts impromptu, so I haven't really looked at it. But it, of course I get to see what the basic is. And your moon is in Leo, and it's in the 8th house of other people's money. So you're supposed to be on stage. You're supposed to have a podcast or some type of platform where you help people and they give you money. So you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're on track there. So I haven't looked at the rest of the chart though.
Okay. You want to peek? You want to look?
Sure. I'll just bring it up right now.
We said nothing crazy. If I've got some, I don't know, some bad tendency or something, I don't know that I want to know.
If I have anything embarrassing
after.
I will save it.
Okay. Yeah. Till we stop recording.
And I won't say your age or anything like that. I'll keep all the data private.
Oh, you can. People know I'm 57. Proud of it. Almost 58. But we won't give them everything so they can do my chart. So
there you go. I've got a few years on you, girlfriend. So we won't tell my age though, but quite a few years. I was driving a car when I started doing charts professionally. Anyways, when I look at your chart, you are an Aquarius. You have your Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Aquarius, but they're in the 2nd house of making money and things you value. So making money is not an issue for you. You can make money. You don't have a problem with making money. You have Capricorn in your 1st house, although your rising sign is Sagittarius. It's at the end of Sagittarius, which means most of your 1st house, which is you, who you be in the world, is Capricorn. And Capricorn likes to climb up the mountain, one little tiny step at a time. And if you've ever seen the pictures on Facebook of the goats, and the mountain is almost straight up and down, and they're on this ledge that you can't even see, and they're flying up the side of the mountain, that's you. But you will not miss a step. You do not like to miss a step. You want to go left, right, left, right, left, right. And if you have to hoppity skip over something, you're not happy. You want to go back and figure out what was it that I missed. And do you have a specific question before I go too far? I want to make sure I answer you.
No, because I don't know exactly what all of this is.
Career? Do you want mostly about career?
Sure.
Okay. So making money is not going to be an issue. Mercury is in Aquarius, Sun is in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius. So those 3 major sun and major celestial lights are all about revolutionary, being a rebel, humanitarian, philosophy, all about getting making your way in the world by things that weren't even invented when you were born. So hence podcasts. But there's more. There's more than just podcasts. And the computer wasn't really around when you were born either. So you're online. That's another thing. Those are things I know about you, though. There are things about you that they aren't even invented today, and you're going to be working with them. So in your future, you're going to be one of those people doing that. And because you are a very psychic person, your Neptune's in Scorpio in the 11th house, and I know that doesn't mean anything to most people, but you have a lot of psychic friends. You have a lot of psychic mentors, people who are your coaches or who have mentored you to do what you do in the world. They're people who are forward thinking. They're rebels and they are innovators. You're an innovator. You could very easily be a disruptor and figure out something in your industry and blow it up so that it's completely different than what other people are doing. And like a coach would come to you and say, oh, that's kind of risky. Just stick with something secure. Your Capricorn in your 1st house will say, yeah, I should stick with something secure. I should really make a plan. And I should really stick with you'll build a real good foundation. But in the back of your mind, you're going to be saying, yeah, no, I'll build the foundation, but I got to blow this up. There's people got to know about this or whatever it is that you're going to say. That's you. And your moon, you were actually born at the full moon. Your moon is almost exactly opposite your sun. So it's in Leo. So your Aquarius and Leo, they're the opposite. So you are very, very balanced. And first of all, Moon in Leo is the showman. You like to be on display. You have no fear of being in front of the camera or standing up in front of, in public talking to people. You'll be the person that if there's a big crowd and something's going on and they need a leader, you'll be the one to stick your hand up and say, hey, folks, listen to me. I can show you the way. But more than that, it's not just that, but because it's the full moon when you were born, you are meant to shine a light. You were born at the full moon, you are meant to shine a light. So not only is it in Leo, you're supposed to do it on stage, but you're supposed to show the way for people. So you are a way shower. And you don't represent yourself as a psychic, intuitive, woo-woo kind of person. You're more shy, more demure, more drawn back, more very, very ladylike. Whereas I'm like you in a lot of ways, but I am not all that. I'm ladylike most of the time, but I'm out there. I'm aggressive. I'm in your face. I don't mind saying things that'll shock you. You'll say things that'll shock you, but you'll do it in such a way that's very acceptable. Like you can swallow that. You can say it. You're not going to be upsetting anybody. You'll shock them, but you're not going to make them unhappy, right? And that's because of where all these things are placed. You're very, very much like Princess Diana, right? But Princess Diana was a great disruptor. She changed everything. But what do we think about her? She didn't do the changing, right? She ran around and she made things happen, and she just was herself. You are just yourself, and you're going to be you no matter what. You've got all of that in your chart. I want to ask you, though, a question.
Yeah.
Do you have any problems with brothers or sisters? Like when you were growing up, did you have any issues, or maybe you're an only child?
No, I did. No, I did, but we're fine now.
Okay, because I can see that in your chart.
Yeah.
You have Saturn in the third house, which is difficulties with short-term travel, like around your neighborhood or just little local travel. No trouble with long-distance travel, but lots of trouble with little short-distance travel. And like a control figure in your life, somebody who is militaristic or like toe the line kind of person, a very general type person in your life, maybe a male figure, because you have a lot of male energy in your chart. Is despite your feminine energy, you have a lot of male in your chart. So your clientele, you probably gravitate towards women, but you would really get along well with men. You have Mars in the 10th house. That's aggressive. That's a real go-getter. And you love adventure. You just love adventure so very, very much. You love freedom. It's hard to tie you down. Whoever would propose to you and want to marry you would have to chase you because you love the chase. And once they catch you, you make them chase you again. That's you. That's you. So I don't want to get into too much of that because that's very private. But
yeah, no.
And then you have Jupiter in the 7th house, which is really a lot of good luck with partnerships. So the person that you have as your person is a very fortunate relationship. You don't have any issues in that department. Very home loving. Your home is very important to you. For all your freedom loving, if somebody said to you, pack your bag, let's go, you already have the bag packed. You're ready to go. Right?
So funny,
but your home is very, very important, and coming home is as much of a treat as getting away. That's who you are. So how am I doing so far?
Oh my gosh. Well, now my listeners all know the deep, true Christina. Yeah, you nailed it pretty well.
Thank you.
No, that's so when you do this with people like you just did with me, and obviously this is we're just scratching the surface on that. But what do you do with that now? So you're a business strategist, you help people break through this stuff. What now? Like, what are the next steps with somebody that you work with?
Well, you haven't given me a problem. Most people come to me and they say, okay, so you're a business alchemist. So I have this problem. I want to do XYZ. Fix it for me and show me the way or create the blueprint, right? And I have some place to go with that. So you have to pick something. Do you want to do a launch? Do you want to do a masterclass? Like, are you just starting out? Do you have an existing business? Like, those are the questions. I already know a little bit about you, so I didn't go there because I want your audience to know that I can talk on subjects I don't know anything about, not the obvious, right?
Right.
If you ask me a question, I'm happy to tell you.
Okay. So I would like to take this Living Ageless and Bold to a national platform. And I have a lot of local. I just got picked up by a local station. They're actually covering topics that we do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very, very excited. And I do local television here, and they always talk about the podcast. But I want it to be bigger. Like, I want people to know about people like you and all these amazing women who are changing the world over 50. We're not washed up. We've got, energy and confidence. And I always say, hopefully we've socked away a little bit of money so we can do the things that matter now. You know, we've raised kids if we had kids, and many of us are empty nesters. So I want this to be big, huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could totally start a movement. Disruptors start movements for sure.
Yeah.
You have Uranus and Pluto in the 9th house. You need to be doing a retreat, and not just a retreat, but lots of retreats. And when you finally decide to do one, you're going to go, let's do it. You're not going to take, waste any time. And it's probably not going to be local. For you, it's going to be, where can I go for an adventure? You know, where can we hike, or where can we go on a catamaran, or off to have a picnic on an island, all just us. And because you will have your audience on the catamaran or on the cruise or whatever you do, you have a captive audience. So you will opt to teach them there. So you will do most of these, when you go to hot tropical climates, they say, oh, let's have a Mai Tai cruise, right? You're going to tell the captain, yeah, after 2:00, from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, we're working. And you're going to get people to, I don't know, write their book, write their memoir, write their whatever they're going to do for being ageless and bold. You're going to get them to do it during the event. And because you have a captive audience, why not, right? And then you're going to say, okay, Mai Tai's all around, right? Okay. And then you're going to have the fun. Not that you're into drinking, but just as an example, right?
No. Right. You work first, fun later.
Yeah, you're going to want to get the work done first. And not that it's first, you're just going to want it scheduled. And you're going to want to do it when they're captive. You know what it's like when you go to a retreat and you're waiting for somebody because they slept in or they're still in the shower.
Right.
Well, you're going to get over that by having everybody meet at a certain specific time way before the event. And then you're all going to usher them out together. So as long as they're going to take as though somebody's still in the bathroom, that's like 10 minutes. That's not a long wait. Right? It's not like somebody's still in bed and they didn't get up. You're going to have it so organized. And then when you're a captive group, that's when you're going to do your teaching. So yeah, I can totally see that. So what I would do for you is help you put the retreat together. I would help you organize what you're doing, when you're doing it, and take your concepts and create the whole blueprint for you and help you get organized. Although your chart is very organized. You're an organized kind of gal. Organized, but two different kinds of things. Like you're balanced. You're not all about one thing. You're about two different things. And I would suggest you get way more into the metaphysical.
What does that mean?
The intuitive, a little bit woo-woo. Like you're going to have to pick out your own way of doing it. But you've got planets in the upper part of your chart that are all the outer planets. Jupiter and the moon are there, and Mars too, for that matter. But you've got Pluto, you've got Uranus, and you've got Neptune all up in the top part of your chart. And the top part of your chart is who you are as a face to the world, like how the world gets transformed by you. And those planets are all about transformation. Pluto right now just moved into Aquarius. So this is the age of Aquarius, right? The dawning of the age of Aquarius. Last year, 2024, was all about in and out of Aquarius, like a little bit to taste and then back to go fix things and then back into taste. But 2025 and 2026 are all about, you're now here, girl. Let's go. Let's make this happen. And it's the time for the woman. It's the time for women to step into their own power and develop all those characteristics that aren't ladylike, right? That we're told, oh, you're just a girl. No, that's not going to happen anymore. This is all about stepping into power and being the people that's like, you be the rocket scientist, you be the politicians, you be the judge, and you be all those up at the top people, not all at the bottom people. It's for everyone to transform into that. And you're one of the catalysts that's supposed to make that happen.
I love that. And I interviewed Hannah Storm. If you like sports, you know who Hannah Storm is. And I said to her, there were no women in sports journalism back then. Like how, she got 1,000 no's, everybody, no, we don't, a woman in sports. Are you kidding me? Like my audience would hate that, it's just, and she, like I said, she shattered the glass ceiling. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think we're not going to be quiet anymore. Older women, we have so much to share, as I found in this podcast with 80 some episodes so far, that these women have a lot. You have a lot to share with the world. You have a lot of empowerment to help these women.
Well, one thing that the millennials and younger are going to have to accept is they don't have the understanding and the reverence for the older generations. And back in the day, like even before we were born, we did have reverence for the older generations because we didn't have the media. And back in, before our time, in our grandparents' time, it was all about apprenticeship, learning how to do the job because you were learning from the masters. And our younger generation, they don't have that. They have to learn that. And that's one thing they're going to be learning in this age of Aquarius, is to have reverence for the older people, because we don't know technology like they do. We weren't born with a cell phone in our hands, but we now have experience of how the world works that they don't have. And things are changing so rapidly. We're learning while they're learning. They didn't have AI when they were born, and now we've got AI. And that's just one thing. That's just one of the things that's come along. There's going to be so many changes over the next 10, 20 years. It's unbelievable. And we'll all be learning together. They are going to take reverence from the fact that we have experience behind us to bring to these new innovations that they don't have.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So where can people find you? What is your website? What's the best way to reach out?
Oh, gosh, my website. Well, are you going to be giving them the little gift I prepared?
We absolutely can. We can put that in the show notes. So yeah.
Then there is a little book me call, so they can book a call with me. First 10 minutes is free. I give everybody 10 minutes. That's not a problem. And then I have a gift for everybody. So if they go to that link, they will automatically get a link, and it's about how astrology can help you with your limiting beliefs, because your limiting beliefs are in your stars. We have them for a reason. We're not supposed to get rid of them. And we try over and over and over again to peel the onion to get rid of them, but they're there for a reason. And the money is in the limiting beliefs. That's your gold mine.
Love it. Love it. So we'll have all that in the show notes. Share this episode with your friends. Like I said, sure. I think everybody our age read the horoscope every day, and now there's just so much more to it, so much more we can do. Lexis, this was just so great. Thank you. I do have 2 questions I want to ask you before we wrap up. What is the greatest thing you've accomplished since you turned 50?
Oh, since I've turned 50. I don't remember when I did some of these things. It's all an illusion. Well, I've written a lot of books.
We won't know the difference.
I became a bestseller 25 years ago, but I became a bestseller by being in one chapter in somebody else's book. I did my own book. I think I was probably a little bit older than 50, but yeah, so that would answer you. That's that. Yeah, for sure. I got hacked on my website. I am totally reinventing myself because I'm starting everything all over again. So I had like 8 websites, and now I have like 1, and now I'm putting them all back together again. So soultribology.com and Shift Astrology are both 2 websites that are there for you guys to look at if you're interested. And there will be 6 or 7 more coming.
Okay. Well, we'll put them in the show notes as you get them. And then where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, I'm still going to be doing this, girlfriend. I love doing this. Yeah. I absolutely. But I live in rainy Vancouver, and I am moving to Panama. So April of this year, I should be on my way. That's my plan. I'm hoping to have a retreat there. So anybody want to enjoy this while they're having a retreat, I'm definitely going to have that happening.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. That was really, really fun, really enlightening. And I hope people take advantage of reaching out to you and learning, what I got in that little snippet you'll do on a call with them.
Well, I have a ton more to say. So whenever anybody wants to book a call, we can do so much more. I can tell you so much about what you need to know in order to move your life forward. So it was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so very much. And I'm so happy to come to you.
Thank you for listening or for watching this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe. And if you like the episode, I hope that you will give us a great review. You can also head over to livingagelessandbold.com and sign up for information, inspiration, and exclusive opportunities for us, women over 55. Thanks for listening. And remember, no matter what you do, keep living ageless and bold.